who are present. And first, tell you a little bit about who we are. Instanet Solutions, providing services to the real estate industry. Our 20th anniversary year. Over 400,000 licensed users of our forms and transaction management services. So a good opportunity here to access and work with our web-based applications, entirely web-based applications, to create and complete your forms online. So this is the home page, or home tab if you will. Follow me to the top of the center here, home. When you log into your InstanetForms account, you will access this view. This is kind of the page that you come to when you log in. This is a nationally broadcast webinar, so it may not look exactly the same as yours. As we go through, the forms library will most likely be a little bit different, but all the features, all the steps are the same. And you access your forms for your state and your association. Those forms were provided to us by your state and by your association, and we've just posted them online for your access. They are the same forms that you've worked with 1,000 times before. The forms have not changed unless your state or association has revised them recently. Those forms have not changed. It's really just the forms editor that you're working with to complete those fillable fields, and that's what we really want to focus on, accessing those forms, fillable fields, and completing those forms and contracts. So we are going to, just down to the left a little bit, second row of links there, I'm going to click on InstanetForms. I like to work from these links at the top, clicking on InstanetForms to access that forms library. Typically, it's just going to be alphabetical order to find your forms, to access the forms that you want to complete for the clients and properties that you're working with. So we're going to start on the left-hand side of the screen, top left-hand side. Speak to a few features here. I want to speak to this phrase, I would like to. It's a very consistent phrase that you'll see throughout InstanetForms, and it means that you have choices. It really does mean that you have options, and those options can be found by clicking on the little upside-down triangle. By clicking on that little upside-down triangle, it's going to yield this option menu. Create new form, print selected forms, email selected forms. So options to work with forms that we've generated in our library of forms here. So I'm just going to work down here a little bit. Perhaps you are searching for a particular form. You're looking for that listing agreement or that buy-sell contract or that purchase contract. Let's just look for listing. Let's see what we can find. We're going to type listing into this search, and we're going to search for forms with listing in their form name. By clicking on the magnifying glass there, you can see it's going to search for this form. And I'm just hovering my mouse there. So just by hovering my mouse, that bubble instruction just pops up. So it gives me a little indication of what's about to happen. We're going to search for forms with listing in their form name. And InstanetForms found 5. There are 5 forms in this particular forms library with listing in that form name. One of them is the folder, the listings forms for this particular user base. So continue to scroll down. You can see that it's highlighted in green. It's not selected. It's just merely highlighted so that I can pick it out visually more quickly than otherwise, having to search and read every form name as we go through. So just scrolling down there, some addendums to a listing contract, a multiple listing waiver. Maybe we'll choose that one instead. So we'll choose the exclusive right to sell. That's what I was looking for. So I could certainly choose any form that I want to work with, but let's choose that one. That exclusive right to sell. We'll go with letter size 8.5 by 11. I select it, and I see the difference, see the color difference between the green highlighted, hey, this is what you were searching for, and the blue. I clicked my mouse to select that form. Turned it blue. Now I've selected it. And you can see that the right-hand side of my screen has changed. Just the right-hand column there has changed because I can now work with this form. Me for a second there as my mouse kind of looks like it goes crazy. So that was minimizing my GoToTraining sidebar there because it was taking up the better part of the right-hand side of my screen. Because I wanted to see what I was looking at here on the right-hand side of the screen, form options. Let's just start at the top, name, use property address. So if I don't change this, if I create a new version of this form, it's going to use the property address that I added to the form to name it. That's what use property address means. So this is naming the form that I'm about to create. Maybe I want to give it a particular name. I could select that second circle just below. By selecting there, it brings up the form name, exclusive right to sell. But maybe I want to click in that field. See how my cursor changed from the arrow to the eye, basically. Now I can click in the field. I've clicked there, and now my cursor is blinking. Now I can type. I'm going to stick with Jack. This is a listing agreement, exclusive right to sell for Jack Jackson. I want to give this form a particular name. I could also easily just print the blank form. Maybe this is the shortest webinar that you will attend this year. If all you wanted to know is how you could go online, access, and print a blank form, there's the step. Print the blank form. And we'll do that here. I'm going to steal this just to make sure it doesn't go away. If that's all you want to do, print blank form, there is an interim step. What ends up happening when you click on print blank form, InstanetForms turns that online fillable form into basically an offline static PDF document. It is no longer fillable. I can print the form, the top left side of that right-hand column. I can print the PDF. This will print it to paper. Print that to paper. You can even save a copy offline if you want a PDF backup that you can access in your desktop or laptop computers. You can certainly save one there. So you can print it and hand fill it in those instances. So take the appropriate steps if all you want to do is have offline copies. Top right corner there, I'm clicking on cancel in the top right corner, just canceling out, going back to that forms library. I thought that might happen, so I'm going to choose that exclusive right. I'm going to add that Jack Jackson back. Because what we really want to do is look at and learn how to complete this form, right? We want to fill the fields online. I'm going to click here on Create New Form. Still on the right-hand side of the screen, Create New Form. Now we're opening the form in what we call Forms Editor. This is InstanetForms Forms Editor. Again, same form that you've worked on 1,000 times before. Language is the same. Fillable fields are the same. Checkboxes are the same. It's just the tool to fill them out is different. Forms Editor, loading this form so that we can complete it online. We can fill out the fillable fields. Because if your handwriting is anywhere as bad as mine, you're better off typing it than you are filling it out by hand. So this is what we can do. We can type in that form information. And I'm going to stick with forms and try to reiterate that forms, fillable forms, because that's what InstanetForms allows you to do. Fill out those forms online. Top left-hand corner of this form anyway, listing number. And as you can see, as I hover my mouse, I'm just hovering again. I'm a hoverer. You hover your mouse, it'll tell you the name of the field and the maximum number of characters that you can type. So again, I haven't clicked, I haven't done anything, my mouse is just resting there. When I do click, when I click that left mouse button, it kind of activates that field. My cursor is there now, and it's blinking. So I can type in, I believe that these are 1, 2, 3s, and ABCs. Most fields that you will come across in your InstanetForms program allow multiple different types of characters, both letters and numbers, alphanumeric. Going down, do you like keyboard shortcuts? I'm going to show you one right now. See where the cursor is there, top right corner, listing numbers, blinking there, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. When I hit the Tab key on my keyboard, when I hit Tab on my keyboard, it takes me to the next fillable field within the Forms editor. See it now blinking there by that date field? It actually went to the calendar first, but I thought it was easier to see the date. Because I just want to bring out that you can choose, you can certainly click to select the fields and so forth. This is a calendar, so you can click on the calendar, the date picker. So if I click there, it'll launch that calendar picker. I can pick the day, particularly from the dates. I'm not going to do that, though, because I also want to show you that you can type. And again, ABCs, ACBs, and 231s. I'm going to get dyslexic. I'm going to go with it. You can type those in, to be determined, not applicable, so you can put in the appropriate detail into these form fields. The tab key is just a nice way. I like to keep my hands on the keyboard and go through those fields. Probably would be 11, but as I continue to hit tab, you can see I can continue to move through the form fields. Now, certainly, can I click on them? Absolutely. I can use the mouse. I can click. I just find it, for me, personally, faster when I type. If I can type or paste. There are no restrictions from copying and pasting. I'm going to click and hold to highlight this information, and I'm going to right-click. So I do want to show you a few features within this right-click menu. Obviously, I can copy, but if you're ever curious, you can check your spelling of the words by highlighting them. You can right-click and check spelling within Forms Editor. I'm going to use the copy feature because I want to show you that anything I can copy, and whether it's from this screen or another website, wherever you can copy something to your computer clipboard, so to speak, you can paste into your form fields. There are no restrictions from pasting into any of your available form fields. Those fillable fields can be both typed as well as pasted. So reduce the amount of redundant data entry is what I guess what I'm going for. If you can copy it, you can paste it into your forms and contracts. So we're still there. We'll just keep going a little bit. Use the tab key to go to the next. Not really sure what date detail I'm supposed to be. Well, it's probably a state because that's property address located. Maybe I should stick with, what did we say? This was 123 Main Street. That's fine. And what town we are in. I'll throw a little Austin at you. I think we were in Syracuse, so we'll say Austin, New York, and something like that. This is me filling it out if it was for real. So that was the address listing. Again, let's see. Now this field is numbers only, so I have to put in a numeric value, and we'll just go with 250. Tab to the next field. I'm on the calendar there, so I can certainly click the calendar. Last keyboard shortcut, promise won't overwhelm you with too many keyboard shortcuts, but the space bar. The space bar is always a good one. I guess that just works in check boxes, but pick the date. We'll just grab one. It's a pocket listing. They're getting some features fixed and doing some repairs before they're ready to list. So scrolling down, protection periods, let's just say, I don't know, 90 days. Oh, maybe that was 90 there. Something like that. Add the appropriate content. Add all of the required and optional fields. As I continue to go through, these are checkboxes. See as I hover there, frames it. I can click on it to select it. This is what I meant to show. This was the last keyboard shortcut because I could go to Tab, and you can see I can use the space bar to add that checkbox. Add or remove it. So last one, promise. But sometimes keyboard shortcuts are fun. So go through, complete all the required and optional fields. As we do, I'm a proponent of saving, so I'm going to say save your changes. I just slid my mouse up to the top left corner, that little save diskette there. Save the changes that you make to your online forms. Save those changes. This copy will be saved into our forms library. We'll be able to access this form, revise the form, work with this, create copies of it. So if you are feeling industrious and you just want to go through and create templates, if you will, just going through and adding your listing agreements, in my opinion, are probably 75 to 80% the same every time. Obviously, the property address is going to change, and the owner's name will change. That type of specific information will change, but those protection periods are probably the same most often. Construction, probably most often. You know if you're going to be working a lot in 78 or on or before. There are elements, commissions that you generally ask for. There are these features that you can feel confident in adding into your online forms as kind of templated. I'm going to show you how you can create copies of these forms as well. So continuing to scroll through, just finish this out like this. You could confidently put that in, and maybe it's changing a little bit these days, but certainly opportunity to pre-fill some of this information. Maybe you're giving away half of that, and so forth. Oh, maybe that was this one. Maybe the other one was that sub-agent, and we only want them to get, if you're just going to be sub-agent, then you get one. Realtor here in Austin, Texas, that's the way we do it. If you're a broker, if you're representing buyer solely, you get 3 typically. If you're a sub-agent, 1. I agree that liable. Yeah, 6, so forth. So there's features of your listings, of your buyer agencies that are very standard, I think. All right, finishing up. Go through, complete all of the required and optional fields within your forms and contracts. Going down here, those are not fillable fields. Name fields are seller's name. If we know it's Jackson, and so forth. There's additional owners, broker, so I don't know, ABC Realty. I think that's, and so forth. We've completed. We are saving our changes to this form. Continuing to work in that top left corner. I'm going to click on File, because here where I can now work with this form. Now I want to deliver it. I filled it out. Now what do I want to do with it? Do I want to print it? I'll print this to paper now. I have that option. This will print this form to paper. Now it's complete. Print it to paper. You're going to meet with that client. You're going to sit down at the kitchen table. You're going to go through your listing presentation, and hopefully at the end they're going to sign that. They are going to sign that listing agreement, ink signatures on paper pages. Maybe you've already discussed all of it. Maybe that you've worked with this client before. Maybe you've already had conversations, and now you're just looking for signatures and initials on documents. You can send your forms outbound via email. Again, this is an InstanetForms only account. We do offer a lot of other services, document management, faxing, digital signatures, task management. So we offer a full range of document management and real estate services. Forms are kind of that starting point. You got to have the forms. And then what do you want to do with your forms? Do you want to fax them? Do you want to email them? Do you want to use AuthentiSign to digitally sign them? So really decide how you're delivering your forms and what method that you're delivering your forms to clients and cooperating agents for these signatures and initials. Because forms are great online. Fill them out, but they're not really all that meaningful until they're signed. When they're signed and executed, that's when they really take precedence. So how are you getting them signed? Ink signatures on paper pages. You could print these out if you're meeting with them. You could also send them outbound via email. So let me go send via email, because we want to talk about this option, delivering right from Forms Edit mode, right from your online account. You are instructing InstanetForms to email this online form to your recipient. We're going to identify them right here. By default, it sends outbound as a PDF attachment. Just like it says, PDF attachment to this outbound email message. You can also send the form as a link. There is a benefit of sending it as a link. That recipient is actually accessing your online form, accessing your forms library, your online form when you send it outbound as a link. Because when they click on the link, it launches InstanetForms on their computer. The nice thing about that is it offers feedback loop. It offers the notification that your recipient has clicked to open and access that form. By default, that form is read-only. They can review the form, they could print it, they could take appropriate steps of that, but it is a read-only, no access to fillable fields, unless you give them that additional permission. If this was more of a collaboration with the seller, you could send them the listing agreement as a link and allow them to make changes. Basically offering them access to the fillable fields, sending the form, online access, ability to fill the fillable fields on the form. So if you wanted to collaborate with inclusions and exclusions and list price, I know that's always a tough one, but you can give them fillable access if you choose to. If it's the most crazy thing you've ever heard, certainly don't have to, and by default it will send it outbound as a PDF attachment. So decide if it's a value, if it's not, decide how you want to deliver. Again, we have completed this form, we've saved our changes to the form, we are now going to email it from InstanetForms to our recipient, Jack Jackson, at their email address. We can add a carbon copy. If we want to carbon copy ourselves or our broker or our co-lister or our broker, whomever we want to add in, we can include through carbon copies and blind copies. And the message, this is a message contents of your email message. Please review and call with questions. Something like that. We're going to send the email. InstanetForms is going to email. You're emailing from your online account. When I click Send Email, InstanetForms queues this email to be sent. It is real time, so basically when I click OK, the email is sent, and I get a notification. I get a system-generated email notification that email to Jack was successfully sent. So that is the opportunity to deliver these forms directly from Forms Editor. Once you complete all of the required and optional fields, you can save them, obviously, and then either, like we pointed out, file, print, or send via email, deliver them outbound. Let's just go through a few more features of this. These drop-down menus. Formatting is a nice feature. Format, font. I'm going to choose that option there, font, just to show that you can change the font style, color, and size for your entire document. That's selected here at the top left-hand side of this little pop-up, as well as for existing just individual form fields. You can just change the font on an individual field. So if you want to emphasize some statements or make sure that there's being called out by adding different colors or sizes or type of font, you certainly can change it for individual fields or for entire documents. That's format and font. View, you can zoom in or zoom out. You can jump to particular pages within the form or contract. Transaction. You can, as you move through, if you ever want to work with transaction files, you can start a new transaction from the individual form or even add this form to an existing transaction. So if you do take that natural progression from working with individual forms to maybe starting and working with transaction files, the forms you've generated here can be added to transaction files. Insert. Clauses. There is an opportunity to generate clauses both for your own account. Let me click on clauses. I believe that the association here has generated some as well. I'll hopefully point out here at the end how you can create your own clauses under the Settings tab. So if you have standard language or standard provisions that you like to add to your forms and contracts, you can generate them as clauses and then insert or paste those clauses into your forms and contracts. So you can create them personally. Top left side of this pop-up, personal clauses, the ones that I've generated. Maybe even the office, if you have a broker who is involved, they may have created some content for you to access through those clauses. but also system clauses. So if you're in a situation where your state or association has standard language, you may be able to access those clauses from system clauses. None here other than personal. There's that make ready clause. When you click on the clause name, you can see the clause contents. For this example, I'll just click and hold to highlight it and right-click to copy. Just to show how we can paste these clauses. There are no restrictions from pasting. I'm going to close that clause pop-up window. See if we can find a field that might allow that much. The only thing you're going to be restricted from on some clauses and things is just the fields where you want to paste them. The field will not restrict you from pasting other than potential size restrictions. How many characters and how many fields are available. So this probably isn't the best form example. So let's just choose another one. Let's do something here. Let's go to File and New, because I can access my Forms library from here, clicking on New. So I'm going to open another form, a new form from the Forms library, because in most instances you are going to be working with multiple forms. You have the listing agreement, but maybe you also need a seller's disclosure and listing or agency relationships disclosure. There's always additional forms. Let me just put relationship. See if that brings up any forms. There's multiple disclosures and other features. Relationship not in here. Let me just put sellers. How about that? All right. If I type disclosure, I think we'll get 75 returns. So sometimes here less is more. We'll try seller, and that may yield something for us as well here. There's 11. Let's see if we can find that seller's disclosure, something like that. Disclosure for buyer and seller. Sounds fine. Let's select that one, and I'm going to open the selected form. I'm accessing another form. This form that I'm working on, it's saved, and I'll show you how we can access it. I'm going to show you how we can access both of these forms, merge them together, and deliver them as one, more of a form packet, be able to work in that instance as well. So. But just nice, easy way to go from one form to the next. Again, how do we just do that again? Top left-hand corner, File. We went to New. So we selected a new form from our Forms library. If we had selected Open, this will give us access to the saved versions that we've created. So if I clicked on Open, I'd be able to find that Jack Jackson exclusive right to sell form. So opportunity there to both access saved copies as well as new versions of those forms. But still in Forms Editor, just going to scroll down here, see if there's any fillable fields. So go through. We would complete all of these required and optional fields for this agency agreement. So we know we put in the printed name of licensee is Greg Syracuse, and interest of ABC Realty, and I am the seller's agent, and I'm not the dual agent. I'll probably have to give him that informed consent dual agency for appointing anybody. Again, if you just want to put the not applicable, things like that, complete your forms and contracts, all the fillable fields, save the changes that you make, print it to paper, take the appropriate step. At this point, I'm going to exit from the form editor. I'm going to exit from form editor. I think we've looked at forms edit mode. If you have questions about forms editor, please do type them into that chat section within the GoTo training sidebar. If that sidebar has collapsed against the right-hand side of your screen, you should see in the top right-hand corner of your screen a red block with a white arrow. Make sure it is an arrow. Clicking on that arrow will expand the GoTo training sidebar where you'll find that chat section to type questions. They will be answered promptly through this demonstration. So for now, we're going to exit from Form Editor. We're going to go back to our Forms library. We've completed a couple forms. We now want to look at delivering those forms outbound to our client. So where do they go? We just created these forms. Now where are they? They are with that form. So the second one, let's find the second one first. Chose the one under Cortland here. I can click on the folder name 2 times to expand that folder. The plus sign 1 time. If I click on that 1 time, it will expand. If I click on the folder name 2 times, it will expand. There's that plus sign again. There's the plus sign. That means I have copies or versions of that form. So there it is. That's the one we just created, that agency disclosure for buyer and seller. What we might want to do now is rename it so that we can identify it as the one for Jack. But when I click on it, I just want to select that form, emphasizing that this is the saved copy with all of the details that we just added to it. When I selected that saved copy, the right-hand side of my screen changed. I get an additional I would like to menu to edit form. One I want to point out is copy form, just to kind of tie that bow up a little bit to say, if you just create standard copies of your, basically template your forms, go through and just add your name, your office name, your standard clauses and listing agreements and protection periods. If you just go through and kind of create that skeleton for your listing agreements or buyer agency agreements or things like that, you can create copies to just reduce the amount of time, energy, and effort when starting new forms for new clients. So the copy feature is a really nice one to just have all the detail that you've added to that version copied into a new one. You can also rename the forms. That's the one we're going to choose from here quickly. Rename the form. Click on the go arrow because I just want to add Jack Jackson to that. I'm just going to swoop out Cortland County and just add Jack Jackson and rename that form. And we'll see that now is reflected. And I did that so that I could do this. In the search field, top left-hand side of the screen, in the search field, I'm going to search for Jack and search, so that I can find the additional form that I created as well. So if you're naming, naming becomes helpful. 2 forms were found. Yes, because I created 2 forms. 1 listing agreement. So it's green now. Remember, just highlighted. Select it. Blue. Scrolling down. There's the second one. Green. Press and hold the control key. That's the key here to select multiple forms that we've generated. That's the other 2 very important features of what we're looking at right now. Pressing and holding the control key, CTRL key, pressing and holding the control key down while selecting that additional form. So now I have that one selected and the first one selected. They're both blue. The disclosure is blue and the right to sell is blue. So they're both selected. And they're both saved copies. That's the other important step. I cannot select the blank version. I have to have a version create a saved copy to be able to select it to now. I would like to menu, top left-hand side of the screen. I would like to create new form. No. But that drop-down menu, I would like to print selected forms to PDF or email selected forms. So if you want to send multiple out simultaneously, create and save the versions, select them. Let's print them to PDF. We saw the steps to email. Let's print to PDF. This way we're generating a form packet. We're clicking on the go arrow. So we're going to merge these 2 forms or 3 forms or 4 forms, however many forms you're working with. We're going to merge them together in the order that they are selected. 1 through 5 pages that I can now print to paper, save offline to my desktop. to be able to email it out as an attachment. But right now it's offline. It is a merged form packet. It is not part of my InstanetForms library. It's a separate merged form packet. You can see at the type here, right-click and save target to download it. You can also click here on this little save diskette to save a copy to your computer to then attach to an outbound email message or something of that sort. So I think at this point most folks are going to print it. You're going to print it out. You're going to get that packet prepared with a listing presentation, and you're going to go meet with that client, deliver the presentation, and look for signatures and initials. At that point, if what you do with the paper, I would encourage you to look into our DocBox solution. I would even encourage you to look into our Authentisign digital signatures. Maybe easier than you think. So this session focusing on InstanetForms and the forms individual form library. I think we have completed that pretty well. We are right at that 40-45 minute mark. From here, I am going to go back to the Home tab, top center of the screen. I'm going back to the Home tab, kind of recenter ourselves here a little bit. We're working in InstanetForms. Again, just to point out, where were we? Just that InstanetForms link just there, lower left of the Home tab, InstanetForms. Access Forms Library, print blank. We looked at how to, once you select it, you can print the blank form. You can create the new, access Forms Edit Mode and create the new version of that online form. As we wind out, I want to click over here on the Settings tab. Clicking on Settings. This is where you can create those clauses if you choose to. If you want to create that language to paste into your forms and contracts, under the Settings tab, Clauses. Let me just create one here real quick, clicking on Continue. We got just a couple more minutes. You'll see the clauses that you have added. There's that phrase again, I would like to. In this case, add new clause. Clicking on the Go arrow. Think of a clause title and contents. Maybe we'll do that dreaded buyer's pre-lease clause. And it's the language used when a buyer would like to lease the property prior to closing and funding. Something like that. You give your clause a title, you give your clause contents, bottom right corner, you save your clause. This clause is now available to you through Forms Editor, Insert, Clauses. You can access that language. You can paste that language into your forms and contracts. Be consistent. Reduce the amount of time, energy, and effort to type that clause each and every time by pasting it into those form fields. Reduce it even more by just creating a form template and creating copies to start contracts for new clients and properties. But with that said, I want to be very mindful of your time, very appreciative of the opportunity to present. I am going to click back on the Home tab and re-raise this audio message. If you do have questions, please do type them into that GoToTraining chat section. I'm going to point out some websites and contact youtube.com/InstanetWebinars. If you just want little 1 to 5 minute how do I send that email? How did I print that blank form? youtube.com/InstanetWebinars for those little 1 to 5 minute how do I's to help you kind of remember those little steps throughout Forms library. Focus on the InstanetForms playlist and to catch those sessions. If you prefer the longer full overviews, 30 to 75 minutes in length, transactiondesk.com/webinars will take you to our schedule of live sessions as well as our library of recorded sessions. We do have a lot of recorded content, 30-minute for quick start groups or templates or things like that. You can get maybe a 30-minute session on the Settings tab if you were curious of some of the opportunities there. full-length webinars at transactiondesk.com, 30 to 45 minutes. YouTube, one minute to 5-minute how-do I-vids. If you have general questions, comments, general observations, webinars at InstanetSolutions.com. We will answer those promptly and appropriately to the questions. Let us know how we can best assist you in implementing InstanetForms into your business practice. If you would like a webinar for your business, your real estate team or your real estate office, they're free. We can schedule them to the time that you have and the content that you would like to cover. They're much more interactive, so that we can discuss how to get the highest and best use out of your InstanetForms account. So with that said, thank you again for your time, energy, and effort to attend this webinar session. I do hope it was a benefit to you. And until we webinar again, I hope that you have a tremendous, tremendous day.